Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Lucas. He wanted me to do a commentary on three episodes of the 2003 Ninja Turtles cartoon, which is the 3-episode arc Return to New York. Now, each one's about 20 minutes long. I'll probably separate into just 3 parts, make it easier. I won't be showing footage because I don't trust Nickelodeon, Nickel and Dime as I call it, because even though they don't do anything with this, they don't put a Blu-ray out or a new DVD set out, they just sit on it, I still have a feeling they would still screw me over if I showed the footage, so I'm sure there's somewhere online, someone else secretly uploaded it. So, Return to New York Part 1. I have a pause at the beginning, 3, 2, 1 pressing play. And you know, I mean, it starts off at a good note with my favorite Raphael blowing the shit out of an entire place with this flying vehicle. Well, he's about ready to blow the shit out of it. But I remember this art being a lot of fun, but it's just pretty much these turtles, they get into this lair and they're kind of going up in this constant battle. It'll take you suckers. Yeah, you ain't invisible anymore. Is that just blow the shit out of it? Nice to showcase the point of view as well. And they did that a lot in the show, like they'll show an opening with one of the turtles or maybe Splinter. They're talking about, give you like a teaser. It's like a teaser for what's going to come into the episode. Not all shows and not all cartoons did that, but this one did. I don't know if they did that all the time. I'm trying to remember. Because I love the show, but I don't remember every single bit of it. I'm sorry. It just, my memory, I'm getting older. But, you know, I've said this before that I grew up with the Turtles, the 80s cartoon, the 90s live action films. I mean, when the first film came out in 1990, I was 7 years old. So I was kind of the age to enjoy this stuff. And then in the mid to late 90s, just there were not a lot of Turtle stuff, and my interest waned just like the public interest waned. Because there's really not much there, and the stuff that was there, the third film wasn't that great. I did not see at the time, the live mutation, the Next Mutation live action TV show. I saw it much later in life, but at the time it came out, and I think it got some decent ratings, but then yes, second one was just expensive, and they were not getting as much money as they could if it was just another Power Ranger show, because they had to split it with the people who own the rights. But yeah, I think Casey Jones, he definitely has that Jack Burton quality to him. Because like I said, Kevin Eastman, he said one of the inspirations for him in the comics was Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. So this intricate setup to... I mean, it does hide the place, does hide the layer. I don't know how the fuck Donnie built all this, though. Now, how the fuck would you build all this? But technically, this is a place they found after, like, the first episode, they had a lair, and it got crapped on. So they had to go find a new new lair. Yeah, it's gonna be a few months old. So again, there is humor and comedy in the show, which makes sense. I mean, it's Ninja Turtles. But it's definitely a lot of more of an action-driven show compared to the 80s cartoon. By this point, between the last, let's see, Tales of Leo and this one, there were a couple episodes of them on the farm where Leo's healing, and then there was a nice where he's trying to make new swords, and Raphael helps him out. I didn't like nice subtle brotherly bonding moment. Worked in the way to make the comeback here to New York. Which, I mean, even in the 1990 film, they had that farmhouse motif. And that was from the original comic books. And this April O'Neil, yeah, she is a scientist. She used to work for a scientist. Well, she was assistant to a scientist, Baxter Stockman. I thought they handled April O'Neil in the right way, where first and foremost, the Turtles are the stars of the show. It didn't become the April O'Neil show, which, with the way things are nowadays, they could have a tendency to do something like that. She's in the right amount. She doesn't take away from the focus of the title characters. This was a sword that was brought up in earlier episodes where Shredder and company were really adamant on having this thing. As used in the final bout where you think Shredder's dead and they cut his head off as much as they could in a kids cartoon. But then you realize, wait a minute, Tizzy didn't. Shredder's such a. He's pretty much the Darth Vader of the Ninja Turtles universe, so they're not going to kill him off in season 1. He may be out of commission for a bit, but either you make him human and you find some other bullshit way of, like, man, you cut his head off, that would kill a Highlander, you know. Or they did what they did, which, again, I know a lot of people had a lot of issues with what they did with Shredder, who he really is. It didn't bother me as much as I thought it was done well enough for their intentions. And also it's kind of cool. It's kind of like what I would like to see in a movie. You get this skyrise building of the bad guy's lair. They got to start at the bottom and they got to work their way up. And that traverses through the 3 episodes, the 3 parts. You think this is the Turtles. You think they're making a kamikaze mission with all these missiles. But they're doing that just to have this big old distraction. I do wonder if they should use a different vehicle, though, so that they wouldn't. They think it may be some rival gang member trying to do a kamikaze and not the Turtles themselves. So I do think in retrospect they should just use a different vehicle. That would have been better. But again, it's supposed to be a trick for the audience where, though you think they're in this, they're not, obviously. But you think they're in this vehicle. But again, just a big distraction. Which we've seen in an early episode in one of the, I think was it the Shredder Strikes Back or the Shredder Strikes, that the vehicle can be used in a remote control fashion. This was being used here. And this is Hun, the henchman of the Shredder, which pretty much came up with for the cartoon. It was never in any of the other comics or such, only for this, which worked well because you have the big muscle guy who has brute strength compared to Shredder's more advanced like martial arts technique. And yeah, I always thought the animation worked rather well, and you know, the especially in the first four seasons, like the colors work, and I mean, this is a someone made this for me. I mean, I bought it, but they did a really good job. So this is not an official Blu-ray, but it's a fan made, and bought a copy for them, and they did a great job. Like you have, I do this. Yeah. One disc is in, but each of the seasons, they even have some features that you find online put onto there. And look as good as you can, because again, there's no technically HD versions of these, but this still looks pretty good. So and this is pretty much the gauntlet they gotta go as they go up, and it makes sense. Like you start out with the regular Foot Clan, and as you go up, you get more and more dangerous. I think with the, if you took this kind of plot and you add stuff at the beginning of the film, build up, you you can make it R-rated. This simple, I mean, it could be like a the Red Redemption type of movie. And yet each of these guys get their moments to shine, showing some really good choreography and moves. Mike can actually use his nunchucks, unlike the 80s cartoon. After a while, they just got rid of it, and he just used his hook, the hook thing. Because you don't want to fuck with Master Splinter. That's what I mean. Like, I like that they put style into it. Like that one moment, they just turn it into widescreen to give a certain bit of focus. Again, it's very much of a action-driven show compared to. As well, you have some humor like that. And it's just satisfying. I mean, it's sad that in this one episode you get more of a martial arts action piece with these characters than the two live-action Michael Bay produced movies combined. But hey, you know, God forbid. Sometimes it's the simple things that can make satisfaction come out of the viewer. Yeah, that one guy's knocked the fuck out. You ain't gonna squeeze through that air duct. Fuck out of here. Then you're working up to it. You have the regular Foot Clan. Now you don't have the invisible guys, the foot tech guys. And this would be introduced to the tease we had at the opening. But yeah, the characters were definitely, I thought, cast well voice-wise. I've said that before. Like Donatello, you get the idea that he's brainy and geeky, but you don't have to put fucking Steve Urkel glasses on him. And he doesn't have to snort as if he's in Revenge of the Nerds. So I go off tangent on that fucking shit. No, you Spidey sense is right. It's interesting to try to animate like an invisible enemy and like the way people get hit and fly back. You gotta make sure the connection will be right because you don't actually have something cool physical to try to attempt to mimic a punch or kick. Sorry, now I'm just watching the show, but I didn't. You create new problems, new issues for the Turtles to overcome. So same with here. Okay, you don't fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck with you guys. I'm gonna get this fucking flying motorcycle thing, and I'm gonna blast everything to Kingdom Come because you pissed me off. So eat shit and die. There you go. Plus it's nice that again, my favorite character gets nice moment to shine. I didn't just give the characters moments to shine and it could go a long way. If you don't want to make them the star, just give them moments to shine like this and to be satisfied as a viewer. Of course, for the commercial break. In 2003, I mean, I'm trying to remember what cartoons were around at the time. Like, for kids, it's not really the most popular. It's not like Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or Disney. And, you know, around the time that this was gone, 4Kids kind of disappeared. This is definitely one of their big shows, though, because it was successful enough that it got technically 6, 7 seasons. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. Of course, Donnie, you could, it was always cool to see what kind of tech you did with Donatello. And shows the nice camaraderie of the family. And why you don't want to fuck with Master Splinter as well. Again, I like this Splinter. He's willing to get in the midst of the battle. You easily get the idea of him being a caring father multiple times. And he definitely gets his hands dirty too. Again, when you go through these episodes, there's a lot of action being involved in this. They definitely have some, you got some good teamwork there, which that's definitely something that was in the 80s cartoon. A lot of variety where the teamwork involved with these characters. You know, it shows that they're stronger as a group. Mole, Larry, and Curly. There's Daryl and his other brother Daryl. All on the ground, face down. Or they should be face down. Just your ass is grass. I guess the only shame is that Casey Jones is not a part of it. I'm trying to remember what the reason for it being. I guess just Dizzy's not that stealthy. Now I remember this being a part of the original comics, these like weird versions of Shredder. I think after this though, these really never came back into play, which is fine. It's just a nice one-off for this little arc. But again, it's kind of that gauntlet, that Game of Death style where, you know, Foot Clan wasn't enough, Foot Tech wasn't enough, and now you got these guys. Just to make things get worse and worse and worse. You pray. But yeah, that's a nice setup. Actually, let me, since I'm at the end credits, let me go pause the voices and give credit. Mike Center Nicholas as Leonardo, Wayne Grayson as Michelangelo, Sam Riedel as Donatello, and Frank Frankson as Raphael. Also Darren Dunstan as Splinter, Scotty Ray, Scotty Tuati as the Shredder, Mark Thompson as Casey Jones. Like I said, the voices do their jobs well. It's a fun episode. Good startup. By itself, fairly action-packed. It built to what the goal was. They got into it. Find Foot Clan, tech, weaponry. I did. Satisfying first part. So, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Lucas. And stay tuned for part 2. See you guys later.